Today on the Muse and every day moving forward, I'm going to be talking about fear. In fact, I'm going to rename the Intuition Incubator to the Intuition Incubator Overcoming Fear with Abby. And the reason is because it has come to my attention after years and years and years of trying to find the common denominator of what I'm really talking about, that fear encompasses everything that I talk about. Fear is the reason that we have difficulty with this human experience that we have. Fear is the reason that we build these defense mechanisms inside ourselves that get in the way of our relationships or our being at peak performance. Fear is also the reason that these personality parts in us develop, and we have these different parts. Fear is what gets in the way of our doing what we want to do. And it could be fear on any level, right? It could be fear of being seen, fear of being unliked, fear of what's going to happen, fear of the unknown, fear of being left, fear of failure, fear of success, fear literally of imposter syndrome, fear of anything. We are constantly driven by fear. And of course, fear also, this overarching idea of fear takes into account, is the whole point of the way that we've evolved and talking about the neuroscience behind how we have evolved, why we do what we do. Everything that we have evolved to do has been for survival purposes, because if you are in fear, you are doing what you need to survive. And these survival things came because we were threatened by something, right? Back in the day, it was for our lives. Now it's the email coming in. This is how we've evolved. So fear covers all of the topics, really, from personality to interpersonal stuff to leadership problems, to the neuroscience, to becoming one with higher spirit, and all of those things. Fear's in the way of that, right? Fear is separation from love. Fear literally encompasses everything I'm talking about. But today, the way I want to talk about fear is fear of clarity, because that is why it has taken me decades. I mean, I am not kidding, decades to come up with what I really am about. And it's because I was afraid of having clarity. And years it's been since I have been doing this business. And I'll tell you, I have taken story to stage masterminds. I've spent $25,000 to spend a year. Years ago, I did this to try and come up with, well, what's my message, right? And I had lots of messages I could have come up with, and I did come up with a lot of them, but I didn't move forward on any of them. It wasn't what I want. There was something in my way. I didn't know. I constantly didn't know. I was constantly saying, I don't really know. I don't have a brand. I don't have this. I can't do that because of this, blah, 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 blah. I've put money into writing books, as most people know, and I've written whole books, that are in my drawer. Or my metaphorical drawer on my computer, right? And that I haven't moved forward with because of fear, right? It's not quite right. I don't really have the whole idea. There's something missing. And what was missing, the reason that there's always been something missing, that I can't grab my arms around it, is because having clarity is scary for me. And I think maybe for other people, I'd love to hear if it's scary for you, but having clarity is scary because when you're clear about something, you have to show up in a way that you wouldn't otherwise have to show up, right? You can no longer be a chameleon. You can no longer fit in here or there or anywhere. You can no longer speak to everyone in an audience, right? You're tying your hitch to a certain person. You are saying things that are going to be controversial to some, to others maybe not, right? When you're truly clear, you are fully embodied in your existence. And I have always, since as long as I can remember, been afraid to be seen. And I know it sounds crazy because I push myself to be seen, and I have for the last several years. It's extremely uncomfortable. I really don't like it. And it was even harder. I think it's going to get easier now that I have this. I hope it is, now that I really am more certain about what I'm doing and what I'm saying. But being seen is super, super hard. And then there's all the fear. Oh, what if somebody thinks this about what I said? Or, oh, I can't believe I said that. That's so stupid. That's all fear, right? That is driven, is driving us. And to be clear means that you are showing up. And showing up can be super, super scary. And so I want to share with you how this also came about, how I understood that it was fear, because it is fear that kept me from that clarity. And I just want to take a moment to talk about manifestation and how these things end up happening. The other day, and of course this has been a long, long time coming, but what I'm telling you is I have meditated forever. I've spent tons of money. I have worked with mentors. I have worked this out on paper over and over and over and over again. And I have not come up with this answer. And finally, this answer came to me, at least the one that I'm going to move forward with now, makes sense so far, is the other day, I was trying to do something. It didn't work out the way that I wanted. I had a whole space of time to do some creative work. I couldn't get anything done because my mind was in my way. And I think something had happened. Someone on my team really isn't working out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to replace the whole thing. It was just, I got completely thrown off, and I realized I am not getting anything done, and I wasn't able to fix this problem with my mind. My mind was running around and running around and running around, trying to fix the problem of being in fear of how I was going to manage the situation with my team. And I finally said to myself, you know what? You're not going to solve this problem with your mind, nor are you going to be able to create anything today with your mind, no matter how much you talk yourself out of this. And I really, really didn't want to go in a walking meditation. My body wanted to do everything other than that, but I drug myself out. I went to the beach and I went on a walking meditation. And I just let it go. I just gave it up to higher power. And I just said, you know what? I guess, if I don't get anything done today, I don't get anything done, whatever. I just sort of gave everything up. And then nothing happened. Nothing happened. And it was only in hindsight, maybe like 2 days later, that I realized that I had gone out to dinner with a friend that night. And over the course of some drinks and that conversation, my friend said to me, I don't know what your message is all over the place. I don't know what you are really talking about. She said, I think you should name it Overcoming Fear with Abby. And there it was, right? There it was. And that was the universe dropping the information, handing the information that I've been looking for with my mind for so long to me in the form of coming through my friend, because I had surrendered. I had just given up. Like, I don't have the answer. I don't know what this book is going to be about. I don't know. I just don't know. It's yours. Go for it. I don't know what my message is. I don't know what my channel should be. I don't know any of these things. And then the information came to me when I let go of the fear around it being perfect, let go of the fear around being clear enough to show up with a message in the world. So moving forward, everything that we talk about in the Intuition Incubator and everything that I talk about is going to have some form of fear. I'm going to call out the fear in it, because I think that if we can overcome our fear, whatever your fear is today, and sometimes you have to take a moment, and I would encourage you to do that right now, take a moment and say, well, what is it that I'm afraid of? You might say, look, I'm not afraid of anything, but then look at what your thoughts are. Look at what you're worrying about. Worry is because you're afraid of something, right? Look at how you're feeling, and I bet you'll be able to find out that there's some piece of fear behind it, even if it's totally ridiculous, and with your mind, you know how silly it is to be afraid, right? All of that to the much larger things, fear of what's going to happen next in your life, globally, whatever it is. If we can overcome fear, and we can, because those are some of the things that we teach on the Intuition Incubator. Those are some of the things that myself and my colleagues do, is overcoming fear, physiologically shifting the brain and body from a fear state, from a survival state, to a state of creation. We can do that, right? We can do that as leaders. We do that in companies and in teams. And if you think about what's happening in your job executively and all of those things, you will see that there is a lot of fear there as well. And if we can put our attention to overcoming fear, from the minutia to the maximum stuff, that's when we're going to be at our best selves as humans, individuals, and as a collective. Thank you for being here on the Monday Muse today. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and share it. That's how people will find this message.